welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Hi again, everybody. Jim Nance here in New York, and welcome back to our Fifth Avenue studios and the NFL Today. Coming up next here on CBS, many of you will see the Raiders challenge the Cardinals, while some of you will watch the Chiefs visit the Seahawks. Down in Tempe, Arizona, the Raiders' Rich Gannon getting set to face the Cardinals. He leads the league in passing attempts, completions, and yardage. Meanwhile, out in Seattle, the Chiefs' Trent Green loosening up to take on the Seahawks. Green often saves his best for last. Ranked is the top-ranked fourth quarter passer in the league. We'll see you back here at halftime with all the scores and highlights. Enjoy the games on CBS.
This being my...
It's the NFL on CBS from Seattle, Washington. This is Seahawks Stadium. For 25 years, they were divisional rivals, and now it's an interconference matchup, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Seattle Seahawks. And welcome, everybody. It's Week 12 in the NFL. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots. It's no secret, the AFC West is the most competitive division in all of football right now, and the Chiefs have gotten themselves right back into the playoff race. A number of reasons why, but probably the main one, guy that can carry the load on offense.
Well, for the Kansas City Chiefs, it all starts with Priest Holmes. When it comes to Priest Holmes, the numbers simply do not lie. He's accounted for half of their offensive yards, and he's accounted for 1/3 of their total points. He leads the team in both rushing and receiving. He's already eclipsed 1,000 yards in the first 10 ball games. And you know what? That spells bad news for the Seattle Seahawks defense.
Throughout most of the season, Kansas City's offense has grabbed most of the headlines, but things have changed. Last 3 weeks, it's no coincidence. They're winning games 2 out of their last 3, and the defense is now doing the job.
Yeah, and Dick Vermeil said that the defense has gone conservative. They're electing to take away the big play, and therefore they're giving up fewer points in their last 3 ball games. So this defense has really turned things around.
Well, for the Seattle Seahawks, it's been a disappointing season for Mike Holmgren and company. They're 3-7, and just trying to put 4 quarters of football together has been the biggest issue. The stats have been overwhelming.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 halves for the Seattle Seahawks. They come out in the first half and really have jumped on their opponents, but in the second half, they've fallen off the deep end. So many young ball players have replaced veteran ball players, and they've yet to really be able to play 4 quarters of football.
Well, for Seattle, a positive story today. It's the return of wide receiver Darrell Jackson. Scary moment in Dallas a month ago where Jackson suffered a concussion, later had a seizure in the locker room. There were some touch-and-go moments for Jackson, but he is back in the lineup. He's been practicing throughout the week. He's excited to be part of this team once again, and he said even 2 days after the injury happened, he felt he was ready to come back, but doctors wanted him to wait. There is protocol after having a concussion, and Jackson has now been cleared to play for Seattle. Seahawks will kick it off against a Kansas City team that has upped its record to 5-5, coming off a win over Buffalo. Ryan Lindell. Kickoff to Dante Hall. Hall is stacked up at the 30-yard line and cannot cross it. And that's where Kansas City will start out as Keith Miller makes the tackle on special teams. Kansas City on offense, led by Trent Green, dealing with injuries of his own. Offensive line, it's Rofe, Waters, Wegman, Shields, and Tate. A strong unit up front for Green, who has put up good numbers this season and has avoided the big interceptions. Backs and receivers, Priest Holmes is an MVP candidate in the NFL. Richardson, Morton, Kennison, and of course, the Pro Bowl tight end is Tony Gonzalez. On a 1st and 10 from the 30, a 2 tight end set to open up play. Play fake. Green throwing to the flat, caught by Richardson, the fullback, and then spun down after a modest gain by Sean Springs, the talented Seahawks cornerback. Seattle's defense, Chad Eaton, a leader on this defensive line, of course, with John Randall, King, and Cochran on the ends. Linebackers, young players. And Marcus Bell has been forced to step in for Anthony Simmons, who does return. We'll tell you about his story later. Springs, Robertson, Tongue, and Lucas in the secondary for Seattle. Call it a 2nd and 6. Fake the handoff. Green throwing. Right over the middle, complete to Tony Gonzalez. So they get the tight end involved early as he crosses midfield into Seattle territory. Free safety Marcus Robertson with a tackle.
And the Seahawks on defense, they know what everyone else around the league thinks of them. Their ability to stop the run has been very poor. As we said it at the top, they rank dead last in the National Football League. So they come out expecting the Chiefs to pound them up front with Priest Holmes. What does the Chiefs do? Well, they come out throwing on their first 2 plays of the ball game.
And Dick Vermeil told us, we're not a run-it-down-your-throat kind of team, despite the kind of year that Priest Holmes is having. They look for balance on offense. And a couple of throws so far. Some trickery. Off the play action. Incomplete. Dante Hall should have caught it across the middle. And it would have been another Kansas City first down. It's 2nd and 10 upcoming.
And Dick Vermeil also told us, he said, well, you can run the ball all you want, but it takes a passing game to put points on the board. So they come out throwing the ball down the middle. Dante Hall, he's not able to haul it in. Excellent pass by Trent Green. Been very accurate to start the ball game, but Hall has to haul in that pass. You like that? Hall has to haul it in, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. You made that nice little connection. You're a wordsmith.
We try. We try.
2nd and 10. Throwing again. This time set it up. Weaving through traffic. Priest Holmes. So if he doesn't create on the ground in your traditional run game, he will create out of the passing game, and it's a part of his game that's improved through the years.
Yeah, he said that during the time he spent in Baltimore, the 4 years, he really gave credit to Brian Billick as a coach that helped him to understand how to be a weapon out of the backfield. And he said after watching guys like Marshall Faulk, he said, I knew that it would be a new era in the National Football League in terms of running backs making plays in both areas of the ball game.
4 plays from scrimmage, 4 passes. Make it 5 in a row. Eddie Kennison underneath, and Kennison is caught quickly after a gain of 4. Ken Lucas will be given credit for the stop. Kennison, normally known as a deep threat, down the sideline. Instead, they set up the short pass.
Dick Vermeil said that points come from the passing game. First 5 ball games, our first 5 plays, I should say, they come out throwing the football. So the Chiefs are looking to jump on top of the Seahawks, and they're going to do it by throwing the football.
3 receiver set now, spread it out to a 4 receiver, 5 receiver formation. Empty backfield. Holmes goes in motion. Green again, an underneath throw. This time it's Dante Hall. Splits defenders and spins his way to the 23-yard line. And another Kansas City first down. That's good for 9 yards.
And what they do is they just get all the receivers over to the right side, and they even bring over Priest Holmes. He throws the block, springing Dante Hall. Very fast Dante Hall. He's normally on special teams where he makes big plays, but if he catches the ball anywhere on the football field, he can take it to the house.
5 completions out of the 6 passes to 5 different receivers for Trent Green. And a 1st and 10 from the 23. Back to the bread and butter. It's Priest Holmes. And sidesteps a tackler to get to the 15. Brian Waters on that left side of the line helps spring him loose with a key block.
And what they do is just spread everyone out, and Priest Holmes is the guy. He likes to run the ball up the middle. He's a guy that can really work between the tackles, but he does have the speed to bounce it outside, and he's a guy that's really worked on his game. We talked about him catching the ball out of the backfield, but he's become the complete running back for this football team.
That was the first running play of the day for Kansas City, and they are on a long drive to open up here. First possession of the game. Handoff. It's Holmes breaking a tackle into the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City. 15-yard burst for Holmes, and it was that easy for the Chiefs on their first possession.
Dick Vermeil said that their favorite run play is 80 or 90 techs, and that's all they do is they base block it with the tight end, and then they pull the backside guard, kick out, and he's able to make the safety Reggie Tong miss in the open field. And that's what Priest Holmes does so well. He's not only a quick back, but you know what, he has the power, and then he has the footwork to elude would-be tackler.
Tong, the former Chief, had a chance to bring him down as Morton Anderson tacks on the extra point. It's an 8-play, 70-yard drive, capped off by yet another Holmes touchdown, his 16th rushing of the year. Holmes adds to what is already an existing team record. 9th consecutive game with a touchdown, 8-play, 70-yard drive, and Holmes made it look oh so easy on that touchdown run. Kansas City with a 7-0 lead over Seattle, and Morton Anderson, the veteran, will kick it off. James Williams is deep, and he'll handle it from the 8. Williams, middle of the field, and brought down at the 27-yard line by Jason Belzer on special teams. Seahawks will touch the ball for the first time when we come back early first quarter.
On CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. AXA, your future, your way. And by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
7-0 Kansas City leading Seattle, former division rivals. They split their 2 meetings last season, each winning on their home field. But Seattle just 1-4 entering action here today at home in their brand new stadium, Seahawks Stadium. Handoff. Sean Alexander on first down. And he is trampled out across the 35-yard gain. Marcus Patton makes the stop. Offensively for the Seahawks, up front, Jones, Gray, Tobeck, Wedderburn, and Womack, who had a little baby daughter earlier this week. We'll give you details later. Quarterback is Matt Hasselbeck, 6-10 now as a starter in a Seattle uniform. Backs and receivers, Alexander only one 100-yard rushing day this season. Strong, Robinson, Jackson back in there for the Seahawks. Abby Tulamili, the tight end. On a 2nd and 5. Toss to Alexander and nowhere to go. Ray Crockett getting the start for Kansas City, and it's a loss of 1. Kansas City defensively, ranking isn't all that good, but they've done a much better job in recent weeks. Hicks, Browning, Downing, and Clemens on that defensive line. Linebackers, Fujita, Patton in the middle. He's always steady, and Meslowski has been strong this year. And the secondary, Warfield, what a terrific interception he had last week to preserve the win. Hartz, Wesley, and Crockett. The rest of the Chiefs in that defensive backfield. Greg Robinson has taken a lot of heat in Kansas City. Last 3 games, a different story. They've been 2-1 in those contests. Sidearm throw. Hasselbeck cannot make the connection to Alexander. And it's 3 and out for this Seattle offense.
Yeah, Hasselbeck could not make the throw because Eric Hicks, the defensive end, got the push in the face of Matt Hasselbeck, could not step through and complete the pass. Eric Hicks is coming off the left side. See, just getting a push, just working number 77, Floyd Womack, just walking him straight back to the quarterback as he dumps Matt Hasselbeck. He was lucky to get that ball off.
15-year veteran Jeff Feagles will punt it, and the dangerous Dante Hall is standing at his own 25, but Hall longest return this year off a punt has been 28 yards. This is a fair catch by Hall, and he brings it in cleanly at the 27. 42-yard punt. Kansas City in front by a touchdown.
Got Stupid Pet Tricks plus Lisa Kudrow. And later this week, catch Ray Romano, Jack Hanna's Animals, Liza Minnelli, and George Clooney. It's all new Dave all this week.
During that timeout, the Seattle medical staff was checking out quarterback Matt Hasselbeck. He appears to be okay. Jeff George, the often traveled QB, is Hasselbeck's backup. 1st and 10 for Kansas City from their own 27-yard line. They already lead at 7-0. Take the handoff. Green sets it up for Holmes. Shake and bake move to the 31 as he was able to juke his way for extra yardage. 4 yards. Chad Eaton, first man there. Well, for Holmes, he is rewriting the record books for Kansas City. He is the first Chief running back to go over 1,000 yards rushing in back-to-back seasons. We told you about the touchdown numbers earlier, and every week he seems to add to the legend, and it's growing.
And you really have to give him credit for maintaining some patience throughout his career. Of course, he was undrafted coming out of the University of Texas and had to sit the bench even after gaining 1,000 yards in Baltimore, but he's hung in there, and now he's having his day in the sun.
On a 2nd and 6. Another pass. This time Johnny Morton. First down and more as Morton tried to cut it to the outside. He's brought down low at the 42-yard line. 11 yards through the air. Morton has been a forgotten man in this offense with the emergence of Eddie Kennison.
Yeah, and so many people have criticized Morton even questioning as to whether or not he's lost his speed or his ability to separate from defenders. And talking to Dick Vermeil, he says most of that has been self-inflicted. He said we just haven't gotten him the football. I've seen the films, and Johnny Morton has been open, and there have been times where Trent Green has just failed to just hit him while he's wide open. Couldn't get him the football.
6 different receivers have come up with catches already today. Here's Holmes off a tackle, and Holmes brought down in Seattle territory at the 47. Will Shields providing a block. Everybody doing their part on that offensive line.
Priest Holmes said that his favorite run play is the draw play. He's just going to take this one right up the middle, and they'll stretch block. He'll step to his left and cut it right up the middle, right behind Tony Richardson, the fullback. But he said it's his favorite run play because he can see the entire field and he can pick his hole in terms of where he wants to attack the offensive line.
And he has given Kansas City a first down. Over 10 yards. That's been the specialty for Holmes. He can break a big one on a flip for Holmes. To the outside. He had an angle, but not a huge gainer. 4 yards for Holmes out of bounds. Reggie Tung helped chase him down.
Chiefs are just being very methodical in terms of how they're moving down the football field. Came out throwing the ball on their first 5 plays of the ball game and went right down the field and scored a touchdown on an 8-play drive. And now they're coming back and showing more balance. A few more runs with Priest Holmes, 39 yards rushing so far in the ball game, but they're picking their spots and throwing the ball as well, keeping this defense off balance.
Holmes gets a breather. Tony Richardson now by himself in the backfield. Total yards, no contest. Green guns it for Morton. Turns it upfield and tackled at the 27-yard line by Ken Lucas, the young cornerback. That's good for 15 yards on the pass and catch.
Johnny Morton did struggle coming into this offense early on. Very complicated offense, but now you can see in the second half of the season, he's beginning to come on. He has a greater awareness of where he needs to be and a greater awareness of the timing of this offense. He's in his 9th year, so it's a guy that should have caught on, I think, more quickly, but hey, it took some time, and now he's starting to pay huge dividends for the Kansas City Chiefs.
He has 21 catches now this season. He had 77 for over 1,100 yards last year when he was the main target in the Detroit Lions offense. And this is a 1st and 10 for the Chiefs from the 27. Another draw play. Holmes through the gut of the defense. And right now, Kansas City is going through this Seattle D like a hot knife through butter.
Well, they've had some problems stopping running backs all year as well. Last week against the Buffalo Bills, they gave up some huge numbers, and you could see so far this season, look at the guys. Charlie Garner, 127, Thomas Jones, Marshall Faulk, Emmitt Smith, and Kenny Watson and Clinton Portis. They've all just feasted on the Seattle Seahawks defense, putting up huge numbers.
And a 1st and 10 from the 16. Kansas City driving with ease. Now this time Holmes is cut down by Anton Palapoy, and a 3-yard gain for Holmes.
It's really tough for the Seahawks to try to shut down the run of the Kansas City Chiefs today, because if they bring 8 men up in the box, then you know what, they have so many guys on the outside, and Eddie Kennison and Johnny Morton as well as Tony Gonzalez that can work on the single coverage and put up some huge numbers in the passing game. So right now Mike Holmgren has to pick his poison in terms of what is he going to try to stop on this Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Holmgren 3-5 versus the Chiefs in his career. 2-1 as he's going head-to-head against Vermeil. Play action. Green, look at the time. Pump fake, and finally the pocket collapses on Green, and it's Palapoy, the first man there. The rookie out of UNLV, Lamar King, also involved for Seattle.
And that time Trent Green had plenty of time. He was looking up the football field. What he has to do in this situation, you know, he's not a mobile quarterback, so he has to get rid of the football. You have to throw it away. Of course, he tried to go to his check down, Priest Holmes. He was open, but Trent Green has to throw this football away. There's Priest Holmes right there. Of course, he's covered up late. Holmes has to either try to get open, and Trent Green has to throw that ball away.
Now a 3rd and 7. 5 receiver look for Green. Straight back. Steps up. Fires. Incomplete. Over the middle, Eddie Kennison unable to haul it in. And Kansas City will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
And this ball is going to be tipped, and Marcus Bell, number 55, has to come up with this interception. You want to pick off all tips and overthrows. That's number 57, Orlando Huff. Have to find a way to come up with that football, get the turnover for your football team.
So Kansas City unable to make good on the touchdown. Instead, a 31-yard attempt. The ageless Morton Anderson. Straczynski will hold it. Kendall Gavin, the snapper. And Anderson bangs it through. Chiefs take a 10-0 lead here in the first over Seattle. 3:29 remaining in the quarter. We'll come back in a moment.
CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service. And by Miller Lite. Life is best told at a place called Miller Time.
Lopsided numbers so far. Kansas City with a 10-0 lead. Total yards, Chiefs with 130. Seahawks with 4. Priest Holmes already has a touchdown to extend his consecutive game streak to 9 straight with a TD. Morton Anderson, who just kicked the 31-yard field goal, kicking off to James Williams from the 10. Williams coming out of the sun into the shade. Can he turn the corner? No. And forced out of bounds at the 22-yard line by Mark Bollrichter. 11-yard return. We'll come back to Seattle after this. Standings in the AFC West, 4 quality teams, with Denver setting the pace at 7-3. San Diego coming off the loss today, 7-4. And Oakland and Kansas City now just trying to keep in the hunt.
And the Chiefs have put themselves in the positions where they can't stumble, as Dick Vermeil has said. They have to get going and try to keep pace with the rest of the pack.
3-receiver look on a 1st and 10 from the 22. Bootleg. Hasselbeck. Rush is coming. Throwing on the run, and it's incomplete. Matt Hasselbeck did not have time to work with as he rolled out. John Browning among those chasing him down from behind for KC.
And Hasselbeck has to get rid of this football. He's pointing over the middle of the field, and Bobby Ingram was wide open coming over the middle of the field. And that's where Matt Hasselbeck has to trust his instincts. And you're going to see guys wide open. You have to trust yourself and let the ball go. And they can ill afford to go 3 and out on this drive. Their defense has been on the field far too long so far here in the ball game.
The Seahawks team has not scored a touchdown in their last 2 home games against Washington and Denver. These fans have not had much to cheer about. On a quick slant, incomplete. Corin Robinson in a matchup with the veteran Ray Crockett. And Seattle in jeopardy of going 3 and out once again.
Yeah, little alligator arms that time by Corin Robinson. You're going to go inside. He's a big receiver. You have to extend and get that football, haul it in, hit him in the hands. He wasn't able to hold on to it. That's because he had what we call the short arms, looking to go over the middle of the field in front of Ray Crockett.
Hasselbeck did tell us, though, that in the absence of Darrell Jackson, he has felt the chemistry go up a notch with his young receiver, Corin Robinson. Now he's got both at his disposal, yet we have not seen the passing game getting to sync as of yet. 3rd and 10. Hasselbeck steps up, airs it out. Open man, hits Robinson. And a 1st down for Seattle at the 45-yard line.
An excellent play by Robinson that time, working against the 3rd cornerback, Corey Harris. And Harris is normally your 4th cornerback, but with William Barty out of the ball game, he's locked up in man-to-man coverage. And that time showing that chemistry between Hasselbeck and Corin Robinson. You see it working there on 3rd down.
And Robinson has had some big games this season. 166 yards receiving against St. Louis. 100-yard day with 8 catches against Washington as well. He's blossoming in his 2nd year. And a 1st and 10, setting up the running play through the middle. Sean Alexander and Scott Fujita able to make that stop.
And Alexander is a guy that has to have a big ball game here today. He's struggled in his last 5 ball games. He hasn't rushed for over 67 yards in those last 5 ball games. Only one 100-yard rushing game so far this season. You could see, of course, against Minnesota, 139 yards rushing, and then in 9 other ball games, 421 yards rushing. So he has not been playing up to par so far this year.
Rushing average just over 3 yards per carry. Here's Robinson, able to make something happen after the catch, and works his way into Kansas City territory. A 1st down for Seattle. That's a 9-yard gain. They'll set the football up at the 42.
And that time, Corin Robinson was able to haul that ball in, going over the middle. We told you he's a big receiver, 6'1", 205 pounds in his second year out of North Carolina State. So they're expecting him, as well as some of the other young ball players on this football team, to now begin to step it up so that they can put some wins on the board. And this has been a very disappointing season for the Seahawks.
On a 1st and 10 from the 42. Fake the inside handoff. Instead, it's Robinson. Through a hole, and Robinson is tackled at the 36-yard line by Shenard Hartz, the safety. 6 yards for Robinson as Seattle went with a little trickery.
And now Floyd Womack goes down late. He's injured, their right tackle. But here's the replay. See, appeared as though he fell awkwardly on the ground.
Now they're helping Womack to his feet. His wife Kimberly gave birth to daughter Trinity on Wednesday. Womack, who is affectionately known as Pork Chop, and with the new baby in hand, you figure it's a little hors d'oeuvre.
A little
right?
Small hors d'oeuvre. And, well, I tell you, he's got to be a proud papa, welcoming his young daughter into the world. But we talked about so many of the young ball players needing to step up on this football team, and they're young everywhere, on the offensive line and at running back. Sean Alexander in his 3rd year, but really only a 2nd-year starter. Matt Hasselbeck, 2nd-year starter as well. He's very young. So many of these young ball players, but a high draft picks, they have to begin to step up and play some football.
Jerry Wunsch steps in at that right tackle spot, the 6-year veteran. And Max Strong gets that carry right up the middle. Just about everybody involved for Kansas City defensively. 3 or 4 yard gain, depending upon where they spot it. You can get breaking NFL news, exclusive analysis, team power rankings. It's all at CBSSportsline.com, or check them out on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. It'll be a 3rd and less than a yard for Seattle, trying to keep this drive going. Down to 22 seconds left here in the 1st. They've been thoroughly outplayed by the Kansas City Chiefs. It's 10-0. Hasselbeck on 3rd down. Again, an inside handoff, and it's the fullback Strong. Should be enough for a 1st down. Time trickling away here in the 1st. And yes, indeed, they'll move the chains. That's how this 1st quarter will end. With a score, Kansas City 10, Seattle nothing. We'll return to Seahawks Stadium. 2nd quarter action is coming up right after this message. 2nd quarter, Kansas City with a 10-0 lead over Seattle. As they take a look at Pork Chop, Floyd Womack on the sideline. And as mentioned, Jerry Wunsch steps in at right tackle for the Seahawks. Ian Eagle, Solomon Wilcox, the rest of our CBS crew with you from the Pacific Northwest. Hasselbeck should have been intercepted by Fujita. There were no blue jerseys in that area for Hasselbeck.
Well, they were blitzing Hasselbeck right up the middle. Greg Wesley, the strong safety, comes screaming in, and this ball's going to be knocked down. It forced him to throw the ball earlier than he wanted to. Scott Fujita getting in the passing lane, knocking that ball up in the air.
And now a 2nd and 10 for the Seahawks from the Kansas City 31. And KC has been forced to make changes at the linebacker position. Luke Bush, who was suspended 4 games for using a supplement over the counter. Handoff. Sean Alexander spilled out. And it'll be a loss on the play as Warfield and Atkins combine to bring him down. Loss of 1 for Alexander.
Yeah, and Atkins, with the linebacker, filled the lane very well. Just turns on his speed because this ball is forced to bounce outside, and watch number 50 just swoops in like a hawk and hunts down Sean Alexander. Warfield also to end on the play.
This Kansas City defense allowed an average of just under 33 points per game in their first 7 games, just over 14 points per game in the last 3. Maturity, something that Dick Vermeil feels has been happening with this KC defense. Hasselbeck. Darrell Jackson sensed a hit was coming. And Jackson did not hold on to the football. His first opportunity since getting back in the lineup.
And we talked with Darrell Jackson. We said, are you going to be willing to go over the middle again? He says, no, I'm not going to worry about it. But you can tell, still in the back of his mind. And he had a very serious injury, suffered a concussion, as well as having seizures after the game. Missed 3 games after sustaining that injury against the Dallas Cowboys. So it's going to take some time for him to get back. He's looked good in practice, but now the live bullets are flying.
50-yard field goal attempt for Ryan Lindell. Leans into it. Lindell, can he get the Seahawks on the board? No. wide to the right. Lindell's longest of the season had been 52 yards. And the Seahawks unable to cash in.
On Turkey Day, it's New England and Detroit. Carve out some time. Friday, LSU battles Arkansas. Saturday, Georgia Tech collides with Georgia. That's good stuff. Sunday, a full plate of football. The feast begins Thanksgiving Day with the NFL Today on CBS.
Ryan Lindell accounted for all of Seattle's scoring last week. 3 field goals, including the 52-yarder that we mentioned before, but he was unable to make good on a 50-yard attempt. And Kansas City holds on to a 10-0 lead. Hand off to Priest Holmes. And the pile is pushed out across the 45-yard line. And he picks up 7 yards on first down. Coming up tonight on CBS, Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin were America's favorite comedy duo until the day they shocked the nation by breaking up. CBS presents their true story in a world premiere movie event, Martin and Lewis, starring Emmy winner Sean Hayes, tonight at 9, 8 Central, right here on CBS, America's most watched network. 2nd and 3 for KC. Line of scrimmage is now just short of the 48. Motion man is Morton. Green wants to put it in the air. In some trouble. Handles the heat. And here's Green. Not exactly fleet of foot, but he comes up with a first down for Kansas City into Seattle territory. A 7-yard run. He avoided the rush of John Randall.
In the last couple of weeks, Trent Green has really showed us something with his footwork. John Randall getting the push with the bull rush up the middle, and Trent Green spins out of it, and look at it, he sees nothing but green turf in front of him, so he's going to pick up the first down. And last week he had a 9-yard scamper for a touchdown, something you don't expect from Trent Green.
Rushing touchdowns have been really the possession of Priest Holmes on this team, and for Trent Green to come up with a Holmes-like play, 9-yard rushing touchdown proved to be the difference last week. Again, some chicanery, and it's Green working that far side to Tony Richardson, and a 3-yard gain on first down. Ken Lucas helped bring him down low.
And the Seahawks have to do a better job of getting up the field and putting some pressure on Trent Green. They came in to this game with 18 sacks so far in the season. At that time, that play took a while to develop, and there was no one in the backfield, no pressure. So if you're going to lay back and try to cover and not put pressure on the quarterback, it's going to spell a long day for the Seahawks defense.
Green right now is 9 of 11 throwing the football, 80 yards, and he has spread it around nicely in this first half. 2nd and 7 from the 42. Pump fake and hand it off. It's Holmes. Priest Holmes lowers the shoulder to the 35-yard line. Marcus Bell, the linebacker, and that fooled the Seahawks defense for a moment.
Absolutely. They were blitzing on that play, looking to put some pressure on the quarterback, and that's what's going on right now. The Chiefs just have this defense off balance. They're one step behind. When they blitz, well, they crease them with the draw play. So the Chiefs seem to be rolling along pretty good here, and the Seahawks, well, they're not putting up that much of a fight. They're playing a lot of snaps so far. The offense has to help to try to keep this defense off the field, but the defense has to help themselves by coming up with a big play.
New set of downs for Kansas City, their 10th first down of the day. Seattle has 3. Green under a heavy rush, and he is tossed down by Randall.
Now they blitzed this time, and they were able to get a beat on the quarterback, and this is what they have to do. They have to keep putting pressure on the quarterback. You can't allow Trent Green to stand back there all day. You know he's not going to break out of the pocket too much. You know he's shown it earlier on this drive. I think that's more of an anomaly. It's not going to happen consistently. You have to contain the quarterback, get a push up the middle. That time they were able to do so with John Randall.
8+ sacks in 11 straight seasons, but Randall limited this year because of injuries. The knees have always been an issue, at least the last few years for Randall. He missed the first 4 games. Handoff. Holmes busting through. Out across the 40-yard line. Reggie Tung helped push him backwards. And he picks up 5 yards running towards the outside.
Seahawks defensive coordinator Steve Sidwell becoming more aggressive in his play calling, getting 8 men up in the box, as well as Reggie Tung, the safety, coming in to not only put pressure on the quarterback to try to shut down this running game. And Priest Holmes, you get 8 men in the box. Now look for the Chiefs to try to exploit that single coverage on the outside.
And a 3rd and 13 for KC. 4 receivers set. dime package for Seattle. Green in a passing situation. Darts one across the middle. Holmes makes the catch. Tried to cut it back and could not. 5-yard gain. And the Seahawks do not allow Kansas City to get the first down. A good sign that Anthony Simmons was in on that stop. Simmons hasn't played since the opening week.
And there he is, number 51. He has the speed, but he's only played that first game of the season, has missed 9 games so far this year with injury. He's a fast-flowing linebacker. He said he only played maybe 20 snaps today, but he has the speed to make things happen in terms of covering the pass.
Sprained left ankle for Simmons. Kansas City could have tried a 50-yard field goal. Instead, it's Straczynski. And he'll put this one inside the 10. Chiefs pin the Seahawks back deep in their own territory. Dick Vermeil deciding to punt it instead of attempting the long field goal.
CBS is sponsored by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention. Zenith, the ultimate authority in high-definition TV. Digitize the experience. And by Heineken. It's all about the beer. Heineken.
Back in Seattle, injury update. Floyd Womack is back on the field. It was a right ankle injury, but they retaped him. And Pork Chop has taken his spot on the right side of that offensive line. 1st and 10 for the Seahawks. Hasselbeck dropping back. Tosses to Alexander. Makes a man miss, and Alexander accelerates for the 17-yard line. Robbie Tobeck, the center, with a good block up front. Penalty marker, and it's against Seattle. First flag that we've seen thrown here today.
Yeah, that's really going to hurt him. That was a good-looking play on the quick screen to Alexander.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. Number 71 offense. Half the distance. Still first down.
Now it's the Pro Bowler Walter Jones as the referee Bernie Kukar filled us in on the details, and it negates this play.
Take a look on the right side. Number 71. Right there. You see him working against Dwayne Clemens. Had a hand in the face, trying to stop Clemens from getting to the quarterback.
And they back it up to the 4-yard line. Jones, who had a contract dispute earlier in the season, missed 2 games. And then was given a very handsome new deal by Mike Holmgren and company. First down, Hasselbeck throws the long ball. 1-on-1. Darrell Jackson can't come up with it. Ray Crockett there, and a penalty flag.
And the flag came down late. I don't know if Crockett got his head around to find the football.
Flag is down at the 45-yard line.
39 defense. That's a first down.
The official couldn't get it out of his pocket.
Crockett is a veteran football player, 14 years in the league. This is the long ball, but watch him turn around. He gets his eyes on the receiver. He never looks back for the football, and he makes contact before the football arrives. That's pass interference every time. As a veteran ball player, you have to know, get your head around, find the football, and make a play.
Turns into a 41-yard penalty. Play action. Hasselbeck wants to throw a deep one again. This time it's Robinson. And the catch made inside the 15 to the 11. Eric Warfield fell down on the play.
Now this is a defense that have been victimized in their first 8 ball games. 28 plays of 20 yards or more. They haven't allowed any the last 2 weeks, and this time they go up top on Warfield after working on Crockett on the previous play. So you have to give this offense some credit for the Seahawks. Mike Holmgren saying, hey, let's take our shots, guys. You never know, we might make a play, and so far they're doing it.
This Seahawks offense, the only NFL team not to score a touchdown when starting a drive inside their own 20. They can do it here. Hasselbeck on a first down. Sprinting. Pump fake. And takes a shot. Flag down at the 6. Hasselbeck got hammered. Mike Mislowski.
Hasselbeck went to slide, and Mislowski, he led with the head. And you can't do that when the quarterback is attempting to slide. All you need to do is touch him. That time, he led with his head as he made contact with the sliding Hasselbeck.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 57 defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Now let's take a look at it. Now the quarterback has to be able to slide. Once he begins his slide, you have to lay off, and you can't lead with the head. See, he's on the ground, he leads with the head, even though he makes contact with the shoulder. you have to lay off the quarterback and touch him down because he's allowed to slide and be down.
First and goal from the 3. Double tight end set. Handed off. Alexander untouched. Touchdown Seahawks.
A very impressive drive for the Seattle Seahawks, using big plays in the passing game to work down inside the red zone, and they've struggled in the red zone so far this year. Sean Alexander's another guy who struggled because he'll just take this. He's very decisive. He'll step outside, then cut it up. And that's what Mike Holmgren has been wanting to see from Sean Alexander the last 5 weeks. And now he's running so much more aggressive here today.
10th rushing touchdown of the season for Sean Alexander. And Ryan Lindell on for the extra point. So while Kansas City has dominated the action here in the first half, this is just a 10-7 game. 3 plays, 92 yards. Second quarter. Wide receiver Corin Robinson had one of the big plays on that drive. 3 catches, 76 yards now for Robinson here in the first half. And Sean Alexander finished it off with the rushing touchdown. 10-7 Kansas City in front. Ryan Lindell, who has not logged a touchback yet this season, a short kick. And Dante Hall is crunched at the 30-yard line. Marcus Bell the stop, and a penalty marker on the play. So we told you just moments ago there were no flags in this game. We've now had 4 in a very short period of time.
Yeah, quickly making us both wrong.
Better to keep your mouth shut sometimes. Seahawks called on the penalty. Line of scrimmage would have been the 30-yard line.
Offside, 34 of the kicking team. That's a 5-yard penalty and re-kick.
And if you're Kansas City, you're happy for the re-kick because Lindell has not been getting depth on those kickoffs this season.
And the penalty was called on Terrell Biera. And this is where you have to be careful because you just ran down covering a kick. You're a little bit winded. And when you get tired, sometimes you tend to break down in your discipline to maintain some lane integrity. So now as they begin to kick off again, you have to be careful and look out for the big play coming back with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Now they'll tee it up at 25. Hall is waiting at his own 9-yard line. Michael Cloud in front of him. See what kind of boom Lindell can get on this kickoff. Kansas City would have had it at their own 30. End over end, it's short. And it's Hall catching it in stride at the 25. Hall sidesteps the tackle. And then brought down at the 37-yard line by Terry Killens on special teams. A 13-yard return. Kansas City with a 10-7 lead. They've got the football.
CBS is sponsored by Saturn, makers of the View redesigned L Series and the all-new Ion. And by TGI Fridays. At Fridays, try one of our delicious menu items tonight, like our double glazed baby back ribs.
Coming up Wednesday, special night for Survivor. Only 4 episodes left. It's 1 episode you just can't miss. Catch Survivor on a special night Wednesday, 8 o'clock, 7 Central, right here on CBS, America's most watched network. Kansas City with a 1st and 10 at its own 36-yard line. Holmes and Richardson in the backfield. Fake on the end around and set up the screenplay. Priest Holmes. Look at Holmes go down the sideline. An explosion of speed for Holmes, who takes it the distance. Touchdown, Kansas City.
And that looks like an MVP play right there by Priest Holmes. But it was excellent blocking by everyone on the offense. Up front, the offensive line as well as the receivers out in front. Watch, it's just a well-timed play. Going over to your left, they fake the reverse, hold the defense. It's a misdirection, but look at all the guys out in front as well as the receivers blocking. Priest Holmes goes untouched for the touchdown. Just a well-designed play by the Kansas City Chiefs.
64 yards for Holmes, his longest reception of the season. 2nd touchdown of the day. And 19 touchdowns is just tied a Kansas City Chiefs record. Abner Haynes, 1962. Morton Anderson, the extra point. And just when you thought Seattle had made a little bit of noise, Kansas City puts them in their place. Added to what he was doing last year with the massage therapy, the hot tub, the cold tub, just trying to stay fresh. And one thing that makes him so special, Solomon, he does it in the fourth quarter as well as he does it in the first quarter. And that means he can wear on a defense.
That's right. He takes care of his body, and he said it's all because we want to wear teams down in the fourth quarter. And as much as he touches the football, he's the guy that doesn't want to wear down, and he can easily do that over the course of a 16-game season. So he's understanding, and that's what it takes really to be a professional in the National Football League. Know how to take care of your body so that you can perform your best on Sundays.
Morton Anderson will kick it off. James Williams is waiting, and Williams will field from the 8. Spun down across the 20-yard line by Derek Blaylock on special teams.
We're going to show you the touchdown. It's really the fake reverse right here to Morton that causes everyone to run here, and then they're going to slip out in the screen. You'll see Priest Holmes, it'll just be wide open. You hold half the defense and you get the numbers, all the blockers out in front, and that's why absolutely no one will touch Priest Holmes as he rumbles in for the touchdown. You have to give credit to the receivers blocking up front, but he's also generous with the football. As we go into the giving season, he says, here you go, young man.
Lucky young man is right. And Priest Holmes, 9 carries, 72 yards, 4 catches, 85 yards. Alexander, and nothing doing, a loss of 1. Sean Alexander, who last year really burst onto the scene with the injury to Ricky Waters. They handed him the starting job, of course, this year. Waters ends up retiring. And Alexander just has not been that highlight-driven running back that we saw a year ago, and we certainly saw enough of it.
Absolutely, and Mike Holmgren says, hey, we can sit him down and show him on film how he's leaving yards on the field. He's not attacking the holes, not pressing, and being very decisive. He said, and he won't fight us in the film study, but he gets back on the field, and he will not revert his instincts to being more aggressive.
Play action, and Hasselbeck makes the connection to Darrell Jackson. It's a first down for Seattle at the 39-yard line. Well-designed play, covers 19 yards.
And Jackson's just working with Ray Crockett here. It's just well-timed in the passing game. Turns out, shuts down, and Crockett drifts up the field. But Jackson, when he came in to talk to us, he was so excited. He could barely sit down in our meeting. He was so excited to come back and play. He said he had never missed any time from playing since he's been playing football. He's missed 3 games, and he says he's watched some of these young receivers have fun out on the football field. Now he's back out with them, make his plays.
1st and 10 from the 39. Hasselbeck, strong throw to the sideline. It's Jackson on a stop and go. Darrell Jackson has another Seattle first down into Kansas City territory at the 41. In this KC defense, which had shown so much improvement the last 3 weeks, struggling right now.
And Jackson is really the quickest of all these young receivers. Watch him stop on the dime, put the moves on Ray Crockett, accelerates up the field, and if Wesley doesn't come over the top to knock him out of bounds, he would take that one to the house for a touchdown.
And Jackson, just to add to your point, said he was jealous watching Corin Robinson and Bobby Ingram go out there, not in a bad way, but just that they were doing what he loves to do, and now he's back on the field.
He just wanted to join the party.
Handoff. Alexander. And a spin move to the 33-yard line. Marcus Patton will be given credit for the stop. 8-yard gain. We're going to New York right now for an update. Jim Nance.
All right, thank you, Ian. We're going to take the update down to Arizona, where the Cardinals were down 14-0, but Marcel Shipp bust free right up the middle and cuts the lead in half. 14-7 Raiders, second quarter. Let's go back to Ian and Solomon.
Now, thanks very much, Jim. Shipp is one of those running backs. Doesn't have a big name, but when he's gotten his chance, he's put up some fairly good numbers.
And he'll continue to improve, and sort of like what Priest Holmes has done throughout his career.
Hasselbeck, short toss. It's Jackson now getting much more involved in the offense on this drive. 7 yards over the middle and a first down for Seattle. They're moving on this Kansas City defense.
And Matt Hasselbeck is beginning to get some rhythm in the passing game. He's starting to become more accurate as the game goes on. He's already thrown a couple of deep balls that were right on the money to his receiver. So I think he's a guy that really has to step up his play. I think all these young ball players on the football team are waiting for the quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck, to step up and lead this football team. And right now he's looking pretty good.
We will hit the 4-minute mark of this second quarter. Hasselbeck, another strong throw. Itula Mealy inside the 10. And Hasselbeck, as you said, Solomon, has been on the money.
He has been on the money, taking advantage of what Dick Vermeil said is a more conservative style on defense. They're blitzing less. They're not playing as much man-to-man coverage, playing that bend but don't break defense right now. Hasselbeck and the Seahawks, they're taking advantage of it.
5 straight completions for Hasselbeck. He's 7 of 12 overall, 142 yards. And a 4-receiver look on a 1st and goal from the 6. On the pitch, Alexander turns it upfield. Brought down at the 2 by Greg Wesley.
Pretty good run that time by Sean Alexander. Had the left tackle, Walter Jones, out in front. He was pulling for Alexander. He tried to stretch it, but at some point you have to be decisive and cut it up. And that time he was able to do it, just coming up 2 yards shy of the goal line. Watch number 71, Walter Jones, out in front. See, he's reading the block, and now that's where you have to cut it up. So he could have cut that up, I think, even sooner. Once Walter Jones kicked out on the defender, you have to be able to accelerate before the pursuit can get there.
8th play of the drive. 2nd and goal from the 2. Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown. Max Strong, the fullback. The Seahawks showing signs of life on the offensive end after not scoring a touchdown at home for 2 straight games. They've got 2 in the first half.
No, they're looking good. They put some points on the board in their previous games in the first half. They just sprint out to the right, and Matt Strong slips underneath, and they find him wide open in the end zone. Also had Utula Mealy over to that side, and that's what allowed Strong to come open for the play.
2nd touchdown of the season for Strong. Lindell, extra point. And he splits the uprights. 8 plays, 79 yards. It took 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Chiefs with a 17-14 lead over Seattle. 5 of 5. Good for 68 yards. And Seattle has gotten itself right back into this game. Now let's see if anybody can stop either team in a 17-14 first half contest.
That defense gave it up way too early on that previous drive by the Kansas City Chiefs, allowing Priest Holmes to just go untouched for the touchdown. So Seattle has to settle in on defense, and I think they first of all have to put more pressure on Trent Green, get more of a pass rush, and then they have to be mindful of where Priest Holmes is at all times. Don't allow the misdirection to draw you off guard, and allow him to get out in front of his blockers and score touchdowns.
Lindell will kick it off. Dante Hall standing back. Hall's longest return this season, 57 yards. Catches at the 15. Hall through a hold and dropped at the 27-yard line. Coming up Monday on television's most watched new show, CSI Miami. What did this college professor teach that could have led to his murder? If you've never seen anything like this before, don't miss an all-new episode of the smash hit CSI Miami, Monday, right here on CBS. First 4 possessions for the Kansas City Chiefs. Touchdown, field goal. They got a punt in there as well, and another touchdown. That was on 1 play, 64 yards to Priest Holmes. 3 receivers set on a 1st and 10 from the 27. Now a 4-receiver look, handed off. It's Priest Holmes. You know it's coming, and yet there's nothing you can do about it right up the middle.
That's right. They're going to try to put even more points on the board, despite there being just more than 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Dick Vermeil, he wants points because he doesn't believe his defense can shut out this offense for the Seahawks.
Shotgun, Green throwing to the sideline, makes the connection to Eddie Kennison. And Kansas City is moving the football once again. That's a 9-yard pass and catch.
Yeah, they're just working on the left side of the offense. Able to complete the ball to Kennison. He does get out of bounds, so you have this timeout, and with 2:02 left. Right now we're going to get the 2-minute warning.
Priest Holmes averaging 8.2 yards per carry. He is part of the story so far. Defense has not been a big part of it. Coming up Nextel halftime report. Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer will have all the scores and highlights. Week 12 in the NFL. That's coming up next on the Nextel halftime report. Final 2 minutes of this first half with the Chiefs in front, 17-14. Kansas City facing a 2nd and 1 at their own 46-yard line, and Green will operate out of the shotgun. 4 receivers set. Handed off to Holmes. And he is spun down at the marker. It will be enough for a first down. Reggie Tung the tackle. And they'll move the chains for KC.
And right now, look for Kansas City to take a shot up the field as they try to get into position for a field goal and maybe even a touchdown before the end of the half.
Green once again out of the gun. Green lobs it upstairs and nobody home. Penalty marker on the play as Kennison is pointing to Lucas. And the flag was thrown with 1:36 left here in the second quarter.
And Lucas was working against Eddie Kennison, got his hands on the receiver as he was trying to break loose.
Here's Bernie Kukar.
21 defense. That's a first down.
First down for the Chiefs, and they spot the football at the 34.
Here they go at the top of your screen right here. And Ken Lucas, you see the double move right there by Kennison, and Lucas beyond the 5-yard mark jams Kennison once again. That's pass interference. You can't put your hands on the receiver once he passes 5 yards up the football field.
And Lucas should know he was a former wide receiver in college. He's been on the receiving end of that. 18-yard penalty. Green on a toss for Tony Gonzalez. And he walks a tightrope down that sideline to the 21. And another Kansas City first down as Willie Williams was chasing him.
Gonzalez seemed very surprised that he was so wide open after making the reception. Really hesitated after he made the catch, turned around, saw no blue jerseys around him, and then just accelerated up the football field.
Trent Green has been impressive here. 13 of 15, 171 yards and a touchdown. Gonzalez's second catch of the day. Last week, only 2 catches for 17 yards, so already has topped that total with 40 yards receiving. Green, pressure's coming, gets rid of it. And Priest Holmes is tackled from behind at the 19-yard line by Anthony Simmons, the linebacker. 2-yard gain.
Good job that time by Trent Green as he was under pressure, but he found the check down man. Priest Holmes. Holmes came into today's game leading the team in receiving with 56 receptions, but see the pressure there by John Randall, and immediately Trent Green goes to his bailout man in Priest Holmes.
Timeout taken by Kansas City. They still have 2 remaining here for the final minute 21 first half. Coming up on Friday, we've got a holiday helping of SEC excitement. Nick Saban's LSU Tigers collide with Houston Nutt's Arkansas Razorbacks. That's Friday, 2:30 Eastern, right here on CBS. Well, for Trent Green, he is not 100%. Green is dealing with a number of injuries. Ribs, ankle, shoulder, but a tough guy. Eddie Kennison said, I would put him in that Brett Favre toughness category, what he's shown his teammates this year.
It's very tough, and it has really hurt his accuracy because he has a difficulty transferring his weight to that front leg, but he's hanging in there and helping his football team.
On second down, Green is forced to unload it with the rush coming, and it's incomplete. Third down upcoming. Tim Terry provided that pressure on Green.
And that's where Green is helping the football team, makes his offensive line look really good. That time Terry came in unblocked, but Green, he reads the front, he knows the man's coming free, and see, he gets rid of the football. The young quarterbacks tend to hold on to the football in situations like that and take the sack, and that would have knocked him out of field goal range.
Solomon Green told us he's wearing the mold of an air cast on his ankle, and they use a little extra padding inside that shell for Trent Green. He said it saved him last week as Green uses a timeout. He took a shot on that ankle, and he said if that padding wasn't there, it could have been a serious injury.
It would have been a serious injury. I remember the hit and see it on that left ankle. It's padded, and that's why you're going to find him in the pocket. He's not going to run too much, but he took a hit on that ankle last week, and had he not had that protective device on that ankle, it would have been in a way that would have caused a worse injury, I think. And so right now he's hanging in there. He's been very tough, taking some shots, but still helping his football team, and he's really earning the respect of his teammates.
Well, Green will come to the huddle with 1:17 left to go in this first half. Kansas City trying to put some space in between them and the Seahawks. Seattle has battled back. 17-14. Chiefs lead it. 3rd and 8 for KC. Green in the pocket. Green fires. Catch made by Kennison, and he's inside the 5. A new set of downs. Reggie Tongue the coverage.
If you're going to blitz Trent Green, he's going to find his receivers in man-to-man coverage. That time he found Kinnison, got rid of the ball real quickly, and they're coming in. He reads the blitz coming from the outside, and Kinnison just cuts up in front of number 24 Sean Springs, and Tongue comes over to make the tackle and prevent the touchdown. But Kinnison read the blitz coverage as well as Trent Green. That time quarterback and receiver were working in concert to complete the pass.
Well, Kansas City has used its final timeout with 1:05 left. There's still time on this clock. You wonder why they want to leave any time left for Seattle to get the football back when they did have a chance to run the clock down. And another reminder that the Nextel halftime report is coming up. Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer have all the scores and highlights. It's coming up next. Nextel halftime report here on CBS. Donald Willis, a backup offensive lineman, is checked in. He is eligible. That's number 60 for Kansas City. First and goal. Play action. Green throws. Bobble. Knocked upstairs. Was it intercepted is the question. Inbounds. No. It's ruled incomplete. Orlando Huff felt he had it, but he was out of bounds back of the end zone. Oh, what a sequence that would have turned out to be for Seattle.
And that time Trent Green was lucky, because over here you had players who were wide open. Tony Gonzalez is over to the other side, and look at this. Well, he gets 1 foot down in bounds.
Jason Dunn was the man who knocked it upstairs, and this is not a coach's challenge situation. This is reviewable by the upstairs replay ref.
Now look at Gonzalez. He's wide open. Trent Green never saw. He flipped the ball out to Tony Gonzalez. He says, "Can I get any love? Throw me the football, please."
Well, I think they're going to take a look at this thing. It was close enough to look at if you're the replay official in the booth. And Mike Holmgren is hoping that Bernie Kukar sees something on that replay that would make him change the call. Now, we always talk about it. You've got to have legitimate evidence that the ruling on the field was wrong.
Okay, he has it, and there you see 1 foot down. The right foot of Huff does get down, but he was bobbling the ball prior to that, so I think it was the correct call on the field.
Here's another look at it off the fingertips of Dunn. Did Huff drag that other foot? He's got the left foot down, then the right foot down.
Oh.
But did he have the football? Did he have it in his possession? Oof.
That's going to be tough. Tough to overturn it, because he did grasp the football, but he had yet to secure it and pull it in and have a very sure possession of the football. So I think they're going to say that 1 foot was down, not 2. And they're going to give Kansas City the ball, and they're going to have another shot at a touchdown.
Seattle does have 3 timeouts remaining. If for some reason they get the football here, he's got it in his right arm. Oof. That is a tough call. Very difficult call. Yeah, normally you and I have a pretty good feeling on it of you take one side or the other.
Okay, you can see he's pulling the ball in right now. Now it's secure, and the left foot was coming off the ground. I think it's going to be very close. You know how they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder? I think that one is so close that you and I could see one thing, and the official who's looking at it down on the field could see another thing. Okay, now he has the ball right there. Now I think it's secure. And see the foot? It's down. The ball is secure, 1 foot down. We know it's still secure. And look at that. The left foot down as well. And you know, I've seen it a couple of times and have had different opinions. And now I believe he did get both feet down. He was able to secure it and pull it into his shoulder pad, and when he still had his right foot down.
What makes it different than the usual plays that you see, it was a hop step. Normally you're looking bang bang where the feet are almost parallel. Did he get them down? This one, he had the left foot down. He now raises up, extends, and the right foot does come down as the ball appeared to be secured with that right arm. But Bernie Kukar has seen enough and is now making his way onto the field. A big call here with just under a minute left in the first half. Officials review.
After reviewing the play, the player did gain possession, pinned it against his shoulder, both feet down. It is an interception. First down.
What a turn of events with 59 seconds left in this first half.
And that's called getting it right. And you have to be man enough to admit to yourself, well, you know, I was wrong the first time, even when I saw the play. And then after we were able to slow it down and seeing it maybe the third or fourth time, I had to change my mind in terms of what I saw, because I thought Huff was able to pull that ball into the shoulder pad with his right foot down. That's the left foot down right there, and the ball is into the shoulder pad. And now after he pulls it in, then he'll get the right foot down. And so you have to give it to him. That's an interception. Just excellent footwork by the linebacker, Orlando Huff.
And the first pick of his career. Hasselbeck takes over from the 20, across the middle, and it's Itula Mealy breaking a tackle. And Mealy is brought down at the 36-yard line.
You talk about the change in momentum after the interception by Huff, and now the Seahawks are on the move and going to try to work the clock. Don't be surprised if they don't go up top and try to make a big play on these cornerbacks.
Huff is in there because of the ankle injury to Isaiah Kazavinsky. They've dealt with so many injuries at the linebacker position. Chad Brown, a broken foot. We told you about Anthony Simmons, that high ankle sprain that has forced him out of action for 8 weeks. Kansas City used that timeout with 1:02 left, their final timeout. They left a lot of time on that clock for Seattle to work with. 51 seconds remaining in this second quarter.
Yeah, you talk about the injuries for Seattle. Their defensive tackle Chad Eaton put it best. He says it's been catastrophic. We've lost big guns and replaced them with squirt guns.
That's cold.
It's pretty appropriate.
On a 1st and 10 from the 36. Hasselbeck trying to lead the Seahawks down the field. Senses pressure. Hasselbeck running with the football to the 45. Out of bounds in Kansas City territory. On a sprint by Hasselbeck.
And we said that Matt Hasselbeck will have to make plays and begin to carry his football team. He's a mobile quarterback. He can run. He has a strong arm. But look, he has the presence of mind to say, okay, I picked up the first down. Now let me get out of bounds so that we can stop the clock. And he'll come back and make a big play. I expect him to try to throw the ball up the field and get closer to field goal range.
The longest run of his NFL career, it's 19 yards. Matt Hasselbeck. Ryan Lindell, his services may be needed. Hasselbeck, blitz coming, stays on his feet, flips it ahead. Incomplete. Throwing towards Heath Evans. And how did Hasselbeck not go down? Eric Downing is down on the field for Kansas City. It was Greg Wesley who came on a safety blitz, but did not take down the body of Hasselbeck. And a concerned Dick Vermeil is walking now to the middle of the field.
Vermeil is a guy that really cares about his football players, coming out to check on his fine defensive lineman. Greg Wesley is a guy that had a bead on Hasselbeck on that play. Wasn't able to get the sack.
Well, Kansas City has dealt with injuries themselves. Derek Ransom on that defensive line. That's why Eric Downing has been in there as a starter.
Downing comes in from the backside, and you can see it. One of his teammates hit his leg. See him right there. Now he's coming in, and see number 92, and Eric Hicks rolls up on his leg, on his right leg. It appeared as though it was his right leg. That's what I think they're checking out right now.
Downing, who was recovering from hernia surgery, did not play early in this season. In his second year out of Syracuse, stepping in for Derek Ransom, who's been out with a foot injury. Richie Owens out with a groin injury. That's part of their depth on that defensive line. That's why they had to promote Arcal Trueluck, number 91, from the practice squad in his first year from SUNY Cortland. That's in New York State. And Trueluck now a part of this active roster and is going to get an opportunity here for the Chiefs.
And Trueluck is a guy that he's a pass rush specialist. They expect him to be able to put some pressure on the quarterback, and he's going to get some playing time.
He was the Arena League MVP, also played in the CFL, and a good sign that Eric Downing has been able to get onto his feet. And Downing is going to walk it off. So a lot of activity here in this first half, and especially over the last minute and change of game action, considering the turnover. Huff with a tremendous individual play in the back of the end zone after Jason Dunn knocked it into the air. Looked like Kansas City was going to extend the lead, if not by 3 points. It looked like by 7 as the Chiefs were driving with ease. As these two defensive units continue to struggle with 38 seconds to go first half.
And now the Seahawks are looking to turn the table and put some points on the board before that.
On a 2nd and 10 from the 45. Motion man is Jackson. Hasselbeck, pump fake. Hasselbeck avoids the rush. Throwing on the run and complete. Mealy, the tight end, with another catch, 9 yards. Scott Fujita applied that pressure in the pocket. And Seattle has used another timeout. They have 1 remaining. 31 seconds left to play first half. Well, this week on The Late Show, Dave's all new Everybody Loves Raymond's Ray Romano, Jack Hanna's Animals, Liza Minnelli, and George Clooney. What a lineup. And Monday, don't miss Lisa Kudrow plus all new Stupid Pet Tricks. It's all new, all this week on The Late Show right here on CBS. Well, Hasselbeck is 10 of 16, 169 yards and a touchdown, and he's been a busy man.
Yeah, they put some pressure on him, but lately he's gotten hot. Has began to go up top on this Kansas City Chiefs defense, looking for the big play to Corin Robinson, and then on the sprint out to the right, going out to Matt Strong, picking up the touchdown. So he's begun to make some plays with his arm. He's also been able to elude the pass rush and been able to pick up some yards running the ball.
It's a 3rd and 1, and this is an important play because you're looking at a 52, 53-yard field goal if they don't get a first down. Inside handoff. Heath Evans met by Trueluck. Is it enough for a first down? It is. And they'll move the chains at the 35. Clock is moving. 18 seconds left. Seattle trying to get to the line of scrimmage, and they do for a spike. So they stop the clock. 18 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. And now the Seahawks face a 2nd and 10 from the 35.
And I think the only question now is, do they try to take a shot at the end zone and go for a touchdown, or do they try to advance the ball over the middle of the field and get themselves in position for a field goal?
They should have a couple of cracks at it, depending upon how they use the clock. In the pocket, Hasselbeck up top and caught by Jackson. Stood up at the 6-yard line. And they'll use their final timeout with 10 seconds left in the half.
So they do take a shot over the middle of the field, but Jackson was wanting a touchdown. He's not afraid to go over the middle after taking a shot by Darren Woodson when they play the Cowboys. And you know what? He's shaking off all the rust. He's looking good today. Did short arm 1 pass earlier in the ball game, but he's willing to go over the middle and pay the price once again. Have to reward his bravery for going over the middle and trying to get loose, get that ball into the end zone.
4 catches for Jackson, 75 yards in his return from a concussion and a seizure. But only 10 seconds left, Solomon. You're probably looking at 1 shot at the end zone, and then you have to settle for the field goal. Yes or no?
Hey, absolutely. And you have to throw the ball into the end zone, because if he catches it short of the end zone and then it's tackled, then you're not going to have any time to line up for a field goal. So make sure you get the ball into the end zone, and if it falls down on an incompletion, you still are going to be able to stop the clock and line it up for a field goal.
Seahawks are out of timeouts, trying to take the lead. Final moments, first half. Motion man Alexander. Hasselbeck. Fade pattern. Up top. Catch is made by Stevens. Touchdown. Oh, what a play.
Absolutely a big play by the rookie tight end, Jeremy Stevens. He's 6'7", 265 pounds. And Mike Holmgren said that this has got to be our guy. He's our ace in the hole in the red zone, and he comes up big for his quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck.
First career touchdown for Stevens. And they are going to check this one out. Stevens missed 4 games with a high ankle sprain.
A ruling on the field of a touchdown.
So Stevens celebrating with the points on the board. Will the point stand?
Well, Stevens is one of those young tight ends in the National Football League who's beginning to make plays. Watch the extension. He pulls it in. I think it's a touchdown. He was able to pull that into the body as his knee hit the ground. And once you get that knee and thigh down, that's like having 2 feet. Look at this. He pulls it into the body. Oh, that looks very good. Good camera work also.
Jeremy Stevens, local guy from the University of Washington, first-round pick. He is considered the whole package at the tight end position.
He looked like the whole package on that play. Just great extension as he hauls in that football, was able to pull it into the body, and he had the left knee down. And then watch the right foot. It drags down, but see, once you pull it into the body, I think that constitutes clear possession of the football. And once you hit the ground, the ball wasn't jarred loose. That's got to be a touchdown.
8 plays, 80 yards in 53 seconds. The only question now is whether or not Bernie Kukar agrees with the assessment here in the broadcast booth. Jeremy Stevens, just think about it, Solomon, how many young talented tight ends we've had a chance to see this season. Early in the year, you and I saw McMichael with Miami make tremendous play after tremendous play against Indianapolis.
And then we've seen Todd Heat in Baltimore make plays like what Jeremy Stevens is making right here. So you're right, so many young tight ends, former basketball players who can make big plays.
After reviewing the play, the receiver had possession of the football, knee down, touchdown.
So 2 reviews that favor the Seattle Seahawks. The one that set this drive up was Orlando Huff. A tremendous interception in the back of the end zone off a tip ball, and it leads to the long drive. And they get the score off the touchdown from Jeremy Stevens.
And in both cases, the officials got it right. That's the main thing.
Ryan Lindell, extra point. Seahawks with 21 points over the last 7.5 minutes. 6 seconds remaining this first half.
Jeremy Stevens, he extends for this football, and Matt Hasselbeck put it on the outside shoulder. That's what you want to do, where only your guy can get it. That's where he puts it, and that's where Jeremy Stevens goes up top to haul it in for a touchdown.
You know, the other part of it, Solomon, on that catch, he's catching the back of the football. You know, normally receivers, they catch the front end and it just sails into your...
Mike Holmgren said, that's why we took you in the first round, young man. That's a way to come up big for your coach.
Only 6 seconds remain, and these Seahawk fans have reacted accordingly. This is not a full house, and the lowest crowd that they have played to so far in the history of Seahawks Stadium.
Well, now the test for this Seahawks football team is how are they going to respond in the second half. They've really outscored their opponents all season long in the first half, but have fallen off in the second half. So that's going to be, I think, a huge step for this football team. They're very young. They're going to have to learn to play 4 quarters of football if they're going to become a good football team.
Well, I mean, that's going to be the storyline, Solomon. We'll talk about it, obviously, once halftime hits, how this team responds in the second half. And the other storyline, Kansas City defensively, so much improvement the last 3 weeks. And too many breakdowns in this first half today. Lindell will keep it on the ground. Takes a bounce at the 30-yard line to Monty Bizel. And only 1 second remains on the clock. 21-17. Seattle has rallied to take the lead. It looked like Kansas City was going to put more points on the board until that interception back of the end zone.
And Vermeil told us points come in the passing game. So they're going to continue to throw this football all over the football field. And I think the Seahawks have found that they can also throw the ball against this Chiefs defense. Should be an exciting second half of football.
They just tacked 1 more second onto the clock, so 2 seconds remain. Line of scrimmage is the 40-yard line. Green on a give. Take a look at this. Holmes. Only way they could have gotten points is if he took it the distance, but Priest Holmes just padded his numbers considerably at the end of the first half. 21-17, Seattle leading Kansas City. Coming up next, NFL halftime report after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel halftime report. Nextel, bringing you wireless solutions.
And the holiday spirit in the air here in Manhattan. Jim Nance on the Nextel halftime report. Good to have you with us, along with Dan Dion and Boomer. Fellas, here we go. The Raiders lead at Arizona. And look at Gannon, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns.
How about Jake Plummer? Look, you know, this guy drives you crazy. 1 interception, this fumble right here. He turns the wrong way, tries to flip it back to his running back. You can't do stuff like that. You got to run a quarterback like this. Look at Rich Gannon. Oh. Touchdown pass to Jerry Porter, 14 yards. What a rifle shot. 21-7. Well, that's not the score. It's 21-14. The Oakland Raiders are up.
And Hasselbeck with 2 touchdown passes for the Seahawks at halftime.
And here's Trent Green throwing to Priest Holmes. You want run after catch if you're a quarterback. 64 yards for a touchdown. Priest Holmes, 171 on the first half. Go Priest. Is that all? And then Hasselbeck with a quick fade to Jeremy Stevens, tight end in the corner of the end zone, puts Seattle up.
They've just started the third quarter at Tampa, and the lone touchdown here, a Favre touchdown pass to Donald Driver. Tiki over 100, had a 70-yard run that set up a short touchdown score by Barber, and the Giants lead at Houston. Earlier today, 8 of 10 home teams won. Big performance by the Dolphins.
Ray Lucas will play action pass early in the game here to James McKnight. Touchdown, puts him up early. Then Ricky Williams got to run Ricky all day. Gets 143 yards on the day. Gets in the corner of the end zone. Miami dominates.
And the Bills have lost 3 straight. Give the Jets 4 straight wins.
Yeah, we got nothing but Pennington highlights. Here's a rollout pass. He throws it to Lavernius Coles in the back of the end zone. But this game was more about Curtis Martin and running ability. But here, look at this, Tennessee dead leg. Oh. Eddie Robinson, pick up your jock, my friend. Pennington leads the Jets to victory.
Patriots got up real big early. Brady had 3 touchdown passes in the first half.
Play action. Brady finds Fourier in the back of the end zone. Goes up 7-0. Then Brady finds his main man, his main squeeze, Troy Brown. 21-0 at that point for the touch.
The Steelers sweep the season series on the Bengals, who had a fourth quarter lead here.
They did have a fourth quarter lead, 21-20. TJ Houshmandzadeh returns a punt, and he fumbles it. How many ways can you find to lose? The Bengals seem like every week it's something else. There's John Kitna. He's frustrated. Cordell Stewart had a nice day, and so did Jerome Bettis. Hey, Cordell, what can we expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers in the future?
We just hope Tommy can get healthy, and you know, if not, you know, I just know I have to get myself prepared to play Jacksonville next week, and that's really what it's all about, man. Just being prepared and being ready, and regardless of what happens, just have confidence in yourself and your teammates around you, and just go out and perform.
Great numbers by Cordell today. Cleveland surprises the Saints. The Saints take a big hit at home.
Not only did the Saints take a big hit, but Payton takes a licking. And I tell you what, he don't stop ticking. Brent Boyer brings that thing. Then Dennis North cuts up the middle. North cuts right. He cuts left. He's cutting up the field, 36 yards for the paint.
Meanwhile, Atlanta shuts out Carolina for the 2nd time this year. They are unbeaten, Atlanta, in their last 7 games.
Rodney Peete goes back to pass, and Keenan Carpenter picks him off 41 yards for a touchdown. Keon, that's it. Look at him. He looks like Dion right there. And then Michael Vick with a little quick fade route to Algie Crumpler for a touchdown. Atlanta dominates. Yeah, that's right, Algie.
All right, Tennessee falls to Baltimore. Titans' 5-game win streak is over.
And we have a fumble right here early on in the game, and Frank Chamberlain picks it up. You can't have that. And then at the end of the game, Steve McNair can't have that at all. Steve McNair, 4th down, needs this completion to keep the game going. Incomplete. Baltimore Ravens win.
McNair picked 3 times today. Hutchinson over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdown passes for Dallas.
And Emmitt Smith, no running back controversy. Emmitt Zone takes it in. 1 yard after 99-yard drive. Then Mark Brunell to lock it for 6. Then they try the onside kick, but it fails. Dallas holds on for the victory.
Kurt Warner returns, and the Rams return to the loss column. They drove late, 17 seconds to go, no timeouts. Warner fumbles, recovered. Redskins, they win.
Well, I thought we had a chance. I just wanted to take one throw there and see if we couldn't win it right there. And then obviously, if it's incomplete, then we end up kicking the field goal. And I wanted a safe play, something that was, benign, that if he doesn't have it, he can throw it out the back of the end zone or whatever. And it just wasn't safe enough. It just didn't work.
And wait till you hear the strategy today of Marty Morningwig and the Lions. Leading in Champaign against the Bears. What an effort by Miller. Gets back on his feet, sets up a tying field goal, and then the overtime coin toss and a deferral.
It's certainly become a factor.
Defend a goal.
The wind has.
Chicago will receive.
Paul Ettinger, good snap. The spot is good. He uncoils, delivers the kick, and over in, fighting the wind, and it is good! And the Bears have won in overtime. They beat the Detroit Lions.
Marty Morningwig is now 0-14 on the road. Yes, he won the coin toss and gave the ball to the Bears, who took it right down for the winning field goal. Thanks for being with us on the Nextel Halftime Report.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Halftime Report. Nextel, bringing you wireless solutions. CBS Sports presents the Nextel Halftime Report. Nextel, bringing you wireless solutions.
It's halftime in Seattle. Seahawks leading the Chiefs 21-17. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station. Getting ready for the start of the third quarter from Seattle. Seahawks with the advantage, 21-17. We welcome you back. Broadcast booth, Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcox. You're the Kansas City Chiefs. You seem to be in complete control, but things slip away. A couple of plays make the difference there, including the interception back in the end zone by Orlando Huff. You have no margin of error.
That's right, and the offense has really come out and performed well. Trent Green has done a really good job, and Priest Holmes, what can you say about him? 114 yards rushing in the first half, but it's the defense that have given up the big plays to the Seattle Seahawks football team, allowed them to get back into the ball game. And what can you say about Matt Hasselbeck? 172 of his 204 yards have come in the second quarter, so he's making the plays to give his team a chance to win the football game.
Well, a couple of different themes coming into this game. Hasselbeck and the Seahawks, their inability in the second half to get anything going rhythm-wise, and the fact that they have been thoroughly dominated in third quarters and fourth quarters this season. And the other theme, Solomon, for Kansas City. There is no room for a misstep at 5-5 in the toughest division in the NFL. Morton Anderson on the kickoff. James Williams will take it from the 18. Williams flag down. Williams burst of speed. Williams, it's a sprint down the sideline. It's Williams. He's gone. Touchdown, Seattle. Penalty marker on the play is laying down at the 36-yard line after the kickoff return by Williams.
And this flag could be the worst thing to happen. You think Mike Holmgren didn't give his team a speech at halftime about coming out?
54 of the return team. During the run back, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Now there you go. 82-yard run back is negated.
D.D. Lewis is the culprit, and that lets the air out of the balloon. And that's what Mike Holmgren wanted. Hey, we have to come out and strike fast in the second half. And that would have just given them a serious jolt of confidence as they go into this third quarter, where they've only scored 13 points all season long in the third quarter. That's just so poor that it really doesn't give your football team a chance to win.
Outscored 51-13 in the third. 76-35 in the fourth quarters this season. Hasselbeck throwing on first down. He is in a groove. He Tulamili the catch. And a solid gainer on first down of 8 yards. Second half struggles. Those are the numbers. And you see the losses on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, 5 games where they've been in it at halftime and often have had the lead, but only to squander it in the second half. And, you know, just no second half touchdowns in their last 3 ball games, and so it's very tough to win when you can't put together points in the second half.
This is a 2nd and 2. First down. Alexander into Kansas City territory. And shredding up this Chiefs defense. A 21-yard burst.
Alexander only had 21 yards rushing in the first half. He'll just hit this one right up the middle behind the fullback, Matt Strong, and he's very decisive in creasing the defense, and that's what Holmgren wanted. Said you can't hesitate at the line of scrimmage in the National Football League. Wanted more decisive runs by Sean Alexander, and that time he got it.
1st and 10 at the 45 of KC. And up Alexander again, muscles his way for a 5-yard gain. Scott Fujita with a tackle along with Belzer. And the Seahawks not letting down after whatever they got going offensively in that second quarter, it's carrying over.
Yeah, when we talked to Mike Holmgren, he said the reason for their second half collapse has been the fact that they have so many young football players. He said we make the adjustments, but they're not able to make them once they get on the football field, and they continue to make mistakes. But right now they seem to be in rhythm.
Hasselbeck darts one near side to Jackson, and he's able to dance his way for another Seattle first down out across the 35. That's good for 7 yards. Such a pivotal game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Seattle Seahawks, a team that is certainly familiar with KC all those years in the same division. They split 2 meetings last year, and Dick Vermeil's club in the hunt in the playoff race, but a loss here would be so damaging.
Yeah, Vermeil said they had begun to play more conservative on defense, not blitzing as much, not playing as much man-to-man coverage, but they're going to have to crowd the line of scrimmage right now. Stop the running game first.
Open lane. Alexander, and he is dumped at the 17-yard line. That's a 16-yard gain right up the gut. Robbie Tobeck, a key block.
And you have to get 8 men in the box. Right now you can see not enough guys at the point of attack. It just hits right up the middle, coming in on the other side, and he cuts it back, and it's just really good blocking up front. And Sean Alexander is not hesitant, showing great instincts of understanding the blocking scheme and hitting the hole as it develops.
Alexander now with 11 carries, 63 yards. Hasselbeck wants it all to the end zone. Robinson's got it. Touchdown, Seattle.
Robinson's a big receiver, 6'1", 205 pounds, and that time Matt Hasselbeck takes advantage of the size advantage that he has over Ray Crockett. We saw Robinson short arm a ball earlier today, but this one he gets top side of Ray Crockett. He doesn't get his head around. Look, he doesn't find the football, and when you have your back to the quarterback, you're exposed because Robinson just goes up to rebound that football for a touchdown.
Extra point, Lindell. 28-17 Seahawks. Kansas City's capable of answering on offense. We'll find out.